That's right, a Gallagher. I've got to be cooking Irish food. I'm going to make a more modern interpretation of shepherd's pie today. So we're going to use mashed sweet potatoes, of course, with Irish butter. It's going to make the dish really rich. Over at the Fresh Market, they have the classic Irish bangers. So whether you're going to make that for breakfast with eggs and fried potatoes, or what I'm going to do is brown that up with some ground beef and mix it all together with some seasonings and bring in some caramelized onions and a little demi-glace instead of the old-fashioned way of making the whole gravy, which is fine if you want to. I think you're gonna like this, and stay with me because today's the day we pick a winner for a $50 gift card to one of our restaurants right here on the Suncoast. Okay, so we have the bangers, the Irish sausage, all browned. I cut them up. You can pull them out of the casing if you want or break them up. And the ground beef, garlic salt, kosher salt, and black pepper. So that part's done. To bring in that rich flavor, you can buy a packet of demi-glace. Now, demi-glace is a very, very, very reduced stock. Usually in a restaurant, it's about 4 days worth of veal stock that's simmered and simmered until it becomes just a glaze. It used to be that it'd be about 40 bucks to buy a cube, and now you can buy this little packet. So I mix it in with some beef broth to give it extra rich flavor. Over here, I'm starting to caramelize the onions. Now, if you're just gonna make shepherd's pie, but you might think you might miss the cabbage, no problem. Throw in some shredded cabbage. You can even put in caraway seeds, which would taste really good, just like this. Also, if you have leftover corned beef and cabbage, you can dice up the corned beef and chop up the cabbage and potatoes. That goes right into your shepherd's pie. So shepherd's pie is just as much about the next day with leftovers. So we're gonna let this continue to caramelize down till it looks like that, till we have that beautiful dark caramelization. And then what I do is I'm gonna take a little bit of that richness right there and pour it in there. Now we're gonna get ready to go in the bowl. So I've drained off a bit of the very fatty part of it. This particular casserole, it's gonna feed about, 5 or 6 people here. So you can use individual or by twos that I love Le Creuset for something like that, or a nice hearty pot. So while this is still caramelizing down, we'll get some that's already done and that will go right on top. Doesn't it look good? All right. Now we're going to take this demi-glace and we're going to pour the demi-glace, and that's going to give this big beef richness. Again, by all means, you can use gravy, and my goodness, you could go vegetarian and just use a lot of chopped root vegetables or roast chicken if you did not want to do the traditional way with the sausages and the hamburger. Now, I want to remind you that you can go on mysuncoast.com and click on our new dining contest. Every week, there's a winner for a $50 gift card to dine at one of our local restaurants here on the Suncoast. You'll also sign up for our culinary newsletter, so you'll find out what's happening around town. It's going to be so good. Come back with me. We'll finish this up and get ready to start celebrating St. Patty's Day. So let's get back to our shepherd's pie. I already have one in the oven because the cheddar cheese is melting on top. Here we have our base of the Irish bangers that are browned off with ground chuck, caramelized onions, a little cabbage, that demi-glace. It's going to give it a richness. And of course, since I have a Guinness open, let's throw in a splash of Guinness. Now, I'm just going to take frozen peas right out of the bag and top it on there. And then I've mashed up some sweet potatoes, a different take, less starchy, and we're gonna put the sweet potatoes right on top. Whipped them, just roasted them in the oven. I always prefer roasting sweet potatoes instead of boiling them because you're gonna get that beautiful sweetness out of them, and then they just pop right out of the skins, mash them up, salt, pepper, and like I said, Irish butter. Now we're gonna put some cheddar cheese on top and get it all covered there. There we go. And then that's going in the oven. This is just gonna be such an easy dish. This is also good because if you're watching the NCAA tournament, like my family, it's one of those dishes that you can just really enjoy sitting around. Everybody can gather their items and some Irish soda bread, and you have it done. Now look at this. The cheese has bubbled and browned. I'll put it on this little heater holder there. Some great shredded Kerrygold cheddar, aged cheddar, and it's going to be bubbly and warm, and it's just what you want, especially because it's actually cold. Often it's a bit warm here on the Suncoast for St. Patty's Day, so enjoy the cold weather. Put on a big green sweater, take out your green casserole dishes, and there you go. You have shepherd's pie. And remember, today's Wednesday. They'll be drawing somebody tonight to win a $50 gift card to one of our restaurant partners right here on the Suncoast. Simply go on mysuncoast.com, click on the dining page, and click where it has the contest. You'll enjoy that. You'll enjoy some extra recipes I have, and I'm on the Suncoast View this afternoon, so we'll have some tips on where you might want to dine for St. Patrick's Day. I think we're just about ready to serve lunch. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Modern's shepherd pie.
That's right. And Pat, I want to acknowledge your email you just sent me in the break. You're absolutely right. Traditional shepherd's pie is made with ground lamb. Thus, I call this the modern interpretation. A lot of restaurants nowadays, Josh, you'll find different ways. Recently, I ate at a vegan restaurant. It was their root vegetable shepherd's pie. And for the past several years, I've made mine with the Irish bangers. So it gives that sausage and ground beef a little extra flavor if you're not using ground lamb. But traditionally, that is. Mine's a little out of the box with the fried caramelized onions and cabbage, and of course, sweet potatoes mashed on top instead of the traditional white potatoes.
That's
so a fun little play on a very classic dish indeed.
But at least we have the classic peas on top of it.
We have the classic peas. You always have to remember
exactly.
that. You can get this recipe and so much more by simply going on mysuncoast.com and clicking on the dining page. You'll get extra St. Patty's tips, and I will be on the Suncoast View at 4 o'clock with more ideas for St. Patrick's Day weekend.